Hey guys, for today's video, I decided to do something a little bit different. One of the main comments that I see all the time on YouTube and emails that I get are just questions of exactly how I film and how I record these lessons. I decided to kind of detail the process and the gear that I use. And everything that I talk about here, every piece of gear, software, or whatever, I'll have a link to in the description so you can get more information about it. This is for anybody who wants to do like covers, or if you want to step into the black hole of guitar teachers on YouTube, make your own lesson videos and have multiple camera angles and stuff. So for people who are clueless of how that happens, because we all are when we first start doing it, hopefully this will help you. All right, so let me just kind of start from the very beginning. You guys see a few different guitars that I use. This guy's been around probably the longest. So this is an Eric Johnson Strat. But you'll also see me use a Sterling by Music Man JP100. It's not an expensive guitar compared to the rest of the line. I did upgrade the pickups to the Petrucci liquid-fired pickups, but it still sounds great, but it's for the money, it's a really good buy. So anyway, so those are usually the main two electric guitars that you'll see. All right, now one thing I am very strict about is I like to use high-end cables, because especially when you're recording direct, is what I do. I don't have an amp sitting here in the room. I really want a really clean signal, and so I use high-quality cables for that. So right now, I mean, I've always used over the years, and right now I'm using this cable by Runway Audio. So it's a high-end cable manufacturer. It just really gives me not only, I mean, there's a tonal difference too, especially when I'm working with because I use, amp modelers. So there's little differences. When I take this out and I just grab a cheap cable, I mean, the differences are quite profound. So this is kind of like the number one thing you can do is invest in a good cable. Good cables all around, but obviously from the guitar to your amp or whatever is very important. All right, so as you guys probably know, from there I go straight into my Helix. So I use a Line 6 Helix to generate all of my guitar sounds. I have for years now. Before that, I used like their Pod HT500X. But all except for the whole almost 10 years I've been doing videos on YouTube, and all of my live guitar work since then too has been, except for like 3 months or a few months where I used the fractal axe effects, but I've always used, I went back to the Line 6 stuff, so I've been using Line 6 since then for really, forever. So I really like the Helix, so you'll see a link to that, but so then from the Helix, I'm talking about the audio portion of these videos first, but then we'll go into the whole video setup. All right, so it's a pretty simple setup. Now I could, if I wanted to, go directly from my Helix USB into the computer and use the Helix as an audio interface into my recording software. I don't actually do that, and it's the only reason why is because all of the sound, the speakers for me to hear myself are actually in another room. So I have really high quality cables, audio cables that can take the Helix, connect the Helix into the other room, into the interface. But I don't have a USB cable, like a nice USB cable that's that long. So I just use audio cables, and I have a separate audio interface that I've had forever. So the Helix and my little lapel mic. So it's just 2 tracks, go straight into my computer's audio interface, which is a Apogee Duet. So it's a really nice audio interface, but very simple. And then from there, it goes into the computer, into Logic. So I use Logic to record my lessons. It's just 2 tracks. You hear the guitar track, and you hear my little mic track. So that's really the audio setup. So that's how I can create kind of a clean sound, because I'm not sitting here beside an amp trying to yell at the camera and then be heard over the amp and the noise of the amp. Everything is direct. So this is separate from my guitar signal. So then it allows me, in post, that everything can be mixed differently. The voice can be mixed up or down or whatever. I don't actually do the recording. My brother Ted, who does a lot of the post-production, the production, behind the scenes stuff here, he's the one that's recording me in the other room. So he's sitting in there, and we have it cranked loud enough so I can kind of hear it, but I can't hear myself that great most of the time. Anyway, and if it's just an acoustic guitar setup, we have some nice high quality AKG condenser mics, and we set those right up, and I just it's a very simple setup there, just straight into the same audio interface. So what do we do when we're recorded into Logic? After the files are recorded, the first thing is it's very important to render the audio files at 48K. Because that's going to allow you to sync up the audio tracks with the video. Now, the video itself is being recorded by 4 Sony 4K cameras. So I have a whole filming setup with nice lighting, and the videos probably look a lot more dark than it actually is in here. It's pretty bright in here, but there's a lot of stuff done in post-editing to kind of make it like a black backdrop behind me. So we use 4K cameras. We upgraded that. I mean, now we do. I mean, when I first started doing these videos 10 years ago, it was a lot more low key. It was just me doing it. So now what happens is my brother, we record these 3 cameras. He takes all of these files. So he takes they're just recorded onto. He takes the actual hard drive or whatever itself, and flash drive, takes it from the cameras and takes the audio files and takes it down to his place. And then he does the editing. So the editing is all done in Adobe Premiere Pro. And the files themselves, since we're all working in 4K cameras and high quality audio, that it's about 50 gigs worth of stuff that he has to take down. For say if we did a 30-minute video, which that's kind of a short one for me, that alone will be about 50 to 60 gigs worth of video that he has to take down there. And since we started working in 4K, we had to get a pretty high-powered computer just for the rendering of our videos. So he takes it, he gets those imported into his computer down there, and then he edits, brings all the files, the audio and the 3 video files, into Adobe Premiere Pro. Now from there, I have no clue of what goes on. This is not a video about how to edit. There's better videos of how to use Adobe Premiere Pro. But he's the one that syncs the audio, scraps the audio from the original cameras, and puts the audio from Logic, that track, in there. So he syncs that, so we're using the clean audio and not the audio from the cameras. And then, so he gets that all up, makes it look pretty, does that, makes everything look fine, puts the overlays on it or whatever he does, and then edits the video so it makes it look halfway interesting. And it edits all my mistakes and stuff. And then when he renders the file, say if it's a 30-minute video, when he renders it, it shoots out like about a 10 gig file that he has to upload to YouTube. So you have to have a good internet connection too, I guess. But so that's kind of the process, and you let the YouTube render it forever, and then eventually it becomes a 4K file. But so this has been a gradual process of how I've gotten to here, but I just kind of wanted to detail the process of the equipment that goes into shooting. You can do this with cover videos or your lesson videos or whatever, of getting a good audio sound. No matter what kind of song I'm doing or whatever, different tone, I can dial in the tone in the Helix, and that I can have that really nice clean sound sent straight to the computer, and then it's separated from my vocal mic, and those can be mixed separately, so I'm not battling an amp the entire time. So I hope this will help some of you guys be able to get your own little videos going if you've been always wanting to, because people ask me all the time, and maybe I'll be able to see some of your videos up on YouTube soon. All right, so I appreciate it. The links for all this gear and software that you'll need for my particular setup will be in the description. All right, I'll see you again soon.